Our politics lead, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, says his office was bugged. Here to talk about it, Republican strategist and former senior advisor to the Mitt Romney campaign, Kevin Madden, Maggie Haberman from Politico, and Democratic strategist Jamal Simmons. So, explain to our viewers what exactly is going on with this McConnell news.
So Mother Jones had a tape-recorded session.
That's not a person, that's a publication.
Right, not someone's Mother Jones, right? That Mother Jones of the 47% tape, since I've got Kevin Madden here, right? I'm sorry, I'm just bringing everybody into the conversation here. They got hold of a recorded briefing session of the McConnell campaign, where they were talking about how they were going to attack Ashley Judd, how they were going to attack another potential Democratic opponent.
In fact, we have a little bit of that. Let's play it right now. And obviously the most controversial part of this tape is others talk about how they potentially could use...
They could potentially use the fact that she is, quote, unstable, in their words. She's had some issues with depression, and this is all very public. So they were sort of going after vulnerabilities. To me, and we talked about this a bit in the green room, it would be malpractice for a campaign not to go over a potential rival's weaknesses. So for me, that's not what's so surprising here. What's surprising is that this tape got leaked, and the big question is, who done it, right? I mean, he's saying that he believes he was bugged. It's not clear he has evidence that it was bugged, that it wasn't somebody sitting in a meeting taping it and then leaking it. But this is pretty standard operating procedure, as you know, in campaigns. It's ugly to hear it, but it's reality.
It's juicy to hear it.
It's juicy.
And the McConnell people are very, very upset. They're accusing a liberal group of bugging the offices. They've referred this complaint to the FBI, which is taking a preliminary step to look into the matter. Walk us through what it must feel like for a campaign to have something like this come out.
Well, I think this is different from other campaigns, surreptitiously taped campaigns, that at least the ones I've worked on. This was met with a yawn by a lot of folks that are looking at the actual substance of what was in the tape. As Maggie said very correctly, this is standard operating procedure. These type of conversations are routine parts of both Democrat and Republican campaigns. So, I think that this is going to be about 48 hours of, hey, FBI, Nixonian, back and forth charges, and then we're going to move on. We're going to find out if we have another candidate from the Democrat side. And then
because Ashley Judd is not running. She's already said this would be a bigger deal, Jamal, if she were running, right? I mean, the idea that I understand you hardened political operatives and tough political reporters.
You've never seen an Apple
This is nothing. Oh, this is how we do it. We destroy people's lives. But if Ashley Judd were in the race, this would probably be a much bigger story.
Sure. I mean, sometimes the more fun conversation is when people come back with the information about your own candidate. You have to have that conversation.
Right, because people do oppo research on themselves.
Yeah. That's a much tougher conversation than the one about the opponent. Usually gets people in trouble when these surreptitious tapes come out is when something is confirmed about the candidate that people sort of suspect deep down inside. So remember the macaca moment with Senator George Allen in Virginia. Everyone sort of thought George Allen had kind of a weird background when it came to racial sensitivity issues. And so when that came out, it became a big way of confirming something people thought underneath. This doesn't really tell you anything about Mitch McConnell that I think you maybe didn't know.
He's a tough political operative.
I think it tells you that. Yeah. Look, the big challenge here for the campaign is that this is McConnell's words about his opponent. And I think if I'm inside that campaign, my goal right now is to make sure that there are only the campaign staff talking about this, and that you get it off the front page and you go back to running your campaign and no longer have the voice of explaining this or what happened in it in Senator McConnell's own voice.
The other piece of news, I think, on this tape was that they were talking about Allison Grimes, his potential Democratic opponent or a potential Democratic opponent. They have basically nothing on her. I mean, this is supposed to be an oppo research, walkthrough for their campaign. Mostly what they were talking about was that she supported the Democratic platform in 2008. If that's the most that they have against a rival, that's a problem.
My caveat would be they don't have anything yet.
Okay.
And I wouldn't base that on one conversation that you had heard on one tape. And I'm sure that knowing that operation, as I do, they're a very good one, there's going to be a very strong contrast drawn between Senator McConnell and his opponent.
We should also note that obviously this recording was from when Ashley Judd was still talking about possibly running, and a lot of the energy and attention was on her. So, and she was considered that I don't know if she could beat McConnell, but she was considered the heavyweight, the Democrat that people really wanted to run because she could do the race. So maybe they hadn't done as much research on her.
The other question for the McConnell campaign, which is probably really driving them nuts, which is not did the Democrats surreptitiously tape this, but did somebody who they trust, who's sitting on a phone call or sitting on a, sitting in the room, did they tape it and then give it away? My understanding of the law is it's legal if one person consents who's in the conversation that they get to then have it. The question, though, did somebody that the McConnell campaign know and trust listen to this phone call and then get it out?
Yeah, we may never get the answer to that.
No, it's appropriate to call for an FBI investigation. What becomes a bigger question, and I don't know what the taping laws are in that state. What becomes the bigger question is the idea that, we know for sure that this group bugged us. That, I think, is problematic for McConnell.
Which he asserted. He asserted a liberal group called Progress Kentucky taped that there's no evidence that anybody did anything at this point in time.
Correct.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin, Maggie, Jamal. I appreciate it. Finally, our